Hey folks, it's Ray, Rainmaker.com here, and today I've got 7 new things to know about the brand new Garmin Edge 130 Plus. Now this is actually the second bright computer that Garmin came out with today. The first one was the Garmin Edge 1030 Plus, which costs like 3 times as much as this thing right here, and it's got admittedly like 90 times more features. So if you want all the information on that one, it's up in the corner there, but for now we're just gonna get right into all the new things on the 130 Plus. But before we do that, a quick note, it looks exactly the same as the 130. Like literally it's identical. Like exterior wise, everything's the same from the outside. It's still black, it's the same, though it actually has less battery. Now, I guess that's technically not a new feature, it's a reduction of features, but the reason they did that is because people didn't get the battery life they claimed in the past, so they fixed that by reducing the battery life claims. Now, with that all said, the first feature on the list is structured workouts, and this is kind of a biggie. So the problem with the Edge 130 in the past was that people kind of thought it was sort of like an Edge 500 series device, but cheaper and smaller, and the reality is it wasn't. It was just a more simplistic GPS. With the Edge 130 Plus, you see Garmin across the board adding these structured workout or more advanced features. Now, the way it works right here is on structured workouts, you go in the top and you hold on this upper right-hand button, and that brings you down to training. This is where you can load any courses in there or training plans. These courses can come from Garmin Connect or Garmin Connect Mobile, as well as from third-party partners, like, for example, Training Peaks or Trainer Road, or anything really that can sync courses to your Garmin. You can pull them up here. In my case, I'm gonna go into workouts, and I've got 2 workouts there. This one at the bottom here called Tonabora is the one I'm gonna do here in just a couple hours. That's my workout for today from Trainer Road. So I can flip this open and I can go down to view, and then I can look at the workout so you can see the steps right there, or sorry, the interval kind of graph, if you will. And if I go down, you can see the actual steps. So if you look there, you see warm up, and then I rest until lap press. This is sort of an outside workout. And then down below, I've got like 7 minutes at 262 to 282 watts, and then rest for 3 minutes, and then repeat that 4 times in total. So to actually do the workout, you'll press the do workout button, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna press it start here, not gonna wait for GPS. And on the left-hand side, you have the target power. The top, you have lap power. You have time to go for this particular interval. And then on the right-hand side, you have the power and the target for this particular interval, as well as the graph at the bottom. And then as you go through that workout, it'll automatically iterate from section to section based on how the workout's defined, the targets that are defined, and how it sequences from each step to the next step. Now, one thing it won't do, though, is it will not control your smart trainer, at least not today. But that gets to feature number 2, which is the ability to control your smart trainer soon. Garmin says a firmware update is coming very, very near term. We're not talking like fall or anything like that, but much sooner. That'll allow you to pair to an AMP+ FEC smart trainer, and then you can control that smart trainer and in turn use intervals and things like that on your structured workout or on your Edge 130 Plus, just like you would have had in the past or do have already on an Edge 500 series or 1000 series trainer. That functionality is coming down to this here. Speaking of things that may be interesting here is hitting that like button in the corner. If you do that, it really helps out this video and the channel quite a bit. Now next we'll get to probably my favorite feature in the Garmin lineup in the last couple years, which was ClimbPro. Something they added to the Edge 530 and 830 about a year ago when those came out, and then to the 1030 over the summer last year, and now it is on the 130 Plus here. So the way it works, I'll load up a course here by holding the right-hand upper button, go down into navigation, courses, there we go, and I can load any course, but I'm gonna load this one right here, Sacalobra in Majorca, which is one of my favorite places to ride. But if we go down, you can see the elevation graph by itself is like, oh, that will probably be painful, and sure, it would indeed be painful. But if we go back there, we can go down to climbs. And what this does is it automatically defines each one of the climbs based on which criteria that Garmin has. And you can see each one of those there. So then climb number 3 starts at 14.7 miles for an average gradient 11%. And I can go and crack one of these open now by clicking the bottom there. And this shows me the actual climb. Now, of course, because it's not a color screen, you don't get to see all the gradient stuff that you would on Garmin's higher end units, but you can still roughly figure out that's gonna suck. Like this is a 10-kilometer climb. It's gonna send 3,600 feet over the course of that climb. So like this is gonna hurt. This did hurt. I've done this climb on other units, and this would definitely hurt. Next on the list is the new instant detection. Now, instant detection on Garmin devices has been around a while, and basically it means if you crash, it'll notify your friends and family. But the problem was that in the past, the Edge 130 didn't actually have an accelerometer in it. So without an accelerometer, they couldn't do instant detection. Now they've got an accelerometer here, now they can. So the way that works is that you go and you configure it using Garmin Connect Mobile. That's a smartphone app. You do have to have your phone with you because this doesn't have cellular connectivity in it itself. So it uses Bluetooth Smart to your smartphone. And then if you have a high G-force impacting event coupled with a stop of some sort, so it's actually looking at those two things together, then it'll trigger an alarm here. You've got about 10 seconds or so to go ahead and either cancel it if it's a false positive, or it'll go ahead then and notify your contacts that you've had an incident. It'll send your contacts a link where they can find where you are. It's a LiveTrack link, so if you were picked up by an ambulance, they can actually follow that to the hospital. And again, it's been around a while. For the most part, I rarely have false positive issues. When I do, they tend to be that I've braked really, really quickly and gone off the side of a sidewalk at the same time, which I know sounds like a weird combination, but it does happen. Also, things that happen are crashes, which it comes with mountain biking, which gets to our next feature, which is the added mountain biking dynamics or mountain biking metrics. This is something that again came on the 530 and 830 a year ago, and it's now on the 130 Plus. Now, mountain bike dynamics leverage a hardware accelerometer in the Edge 130 Plus to go ahead and basically give you grades or metrics against the terrain. So you get grit and flow and jumps, and it can measure jump distance and jump duration, and all that stuff is on here. Unfortunately, I don't have any mountains to mountain bike down to actually get anything even close to impressive metrics. I've literally got pancake flat ground. The good news though is my friend Desfit does have mountains and does have a mountain bike and actually can competently mountain bike. So check out his video on the bottom there, which has more details on the mountain bike metrics for the Edge 130 Plus. Next, however, is something that I've been able to play with a bit lately, which is the new LiveTrack with Courses option. LiveTrack, of course, isn't new. It's been something that's been on Garmin devices for the better part of a decade now, and has been ignored for the better part of a decade now. But with the new LiveTrack Course feature, you can toggle the option to send your course information from this, so from your Edge 130 Plus, up to Garmin Connect, so that when you do share that LiveTrack link with friends and family, they actually see your course. That's pretty darn useful. So the way it works is you'll see your planned course on the LiveTrack link, or your friends will see that rather, and then they can see exactly where you are, and even when you deviate from the course as well. So it's kind of cool to be able to see that yes, you're going where you're supposed to be going, or no, you're off just simply getting ice cream or donuts, which are, I mean, are totally valid. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that your friends can see that now. So be aware if you toggle that they're gonna know. So that brings us to our last item on the list, which is improved setup flow. So there's essentially two parts to this. The first part is that'll go ahead and automatically pull in your activity profile details from past Garmin devices. So when you're using a smartphone to set up the Edge 130 Plus, it'll ask you if you'd like to import your activity settings from past Garmin devices. Now it's pulling from the Edge 1000, 520, 520 Plus, 820, 830, 530, 10, basically anything made in the last like 6 years or so from an Edge device standpoint, it'll pull that in. Now keep in mind, some data fields don't transfer in. For example, there is no normalized power data field in this, so I can't pull that in. There's regular power fields, but not that one. So it does its best to kind of condense what you've got. If you've got different fields into this smaller form factor, you can have up to 8 data fields on a given screen here, so you can probably at least cover the way you've configured those fields. And then it pulls them all in, and you'll see them right there for your default activity profile. Of course, there's only one activity profile unless you don't have multiple profiles, so you're only going to be able to go ahead and get one of those profiles, your default one, pulled onto the 130 Plus. The second feature, though, is more simplistic, which is it pulls all of your sensors. So any ANT Plus or Bluetooth Smart sensor that you pair to any Garmin device in the last 365 days worth of uploads to Garmin Connect is instantiated on this. You can choose not to if you don't want to, but they're all here. So all your bikes, all your friends' bikes that you've paired for some strange reason, they're all here. It's a pretty cool feature. Like for me, having so many devices to test, it's great. For the Edge 130 Plus, it'll store or show your most recent 20 sensors, which in my case is like 2 weeks worth of devices. But for normal people, that's probably like your entire lifetime's worth of devices that are now pulled onto here right away. Now, if you're looking for even more information about the 130 Plus, things like accuracy, GPS accuracy in particular, or the nuance of some of these features, especially some of the non-new features. So for example, Strava Live Segments or courses in general and all that kind of stuff. I've got that in my full written review, which you can see on the screen right now. That's pretty darn long, and it covers, again, anything you could possibly want on the Edge 130 Plus. So with that, hopefully you found this interesting. If so, go ahead and mark that like button at the bottom there, or hit subscribe for plenty more sports technology goodness. As I mentioned in some recent videos, companies are starting to warm up a bit on announcements, so I think we're going to kind of keep this cadence up of new stuff pretty frequently for the next little while. With that, have a good one.